You never take a day off. No days
Nah,
off
no
for you,
days off. No days off. I don't believe in it.
man.
I filled breaks on Easter, so
I
no days
was
off, sir.
I was
You know
eating
what?
in.
Also, go ahead.
I said I was eating Indonesian food on Easter.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
I don't even know what that is, but it sounds like a lot of meat, so that's good stuff. Hopefully, it's lots of different meats.
a lot of that, a lot of like soup and noodles and rice and stuff. It was really good.
Okay, that's different than what I eat, but that's fine. Enjoy your life. Yeah.
Big fan of that kind of stuff. So from here, man, let's get started right into what happened last night. NCAA win, baby.
Yes. Super shocker. Gonzaga comes in undefeated. Looks like they're going to just house everybody. And they did not show up in the first 6 minutes of that game. And Baylor took it to them and took advantage. They were 5 for 5 from three at one point.
Yeah,
They just racked up a big lead, and then they consistently played defense. I mean, they got every single shot in they needed to. It was unbelievable.
I saw the highlights of this game. I did not watch it because I was watching my Mets Phillies game, but
Yeah.
I was going on in and out between them, and I could not believe the score, and I thought Gonzaga was gonna come back in that second half, and
Oh,
man,
for sure.
what
Yeah, they
what
shut that down.
what was it? Baylor's defense mostly.
I think honestly, it was more of a Gonzaga wasn't making the shots they usually make. Like they were even missing layups. I don't know the exact count, but the amount of free throws they missed was really, really high. I mean, they just nothing was going their way the entire game from the onset of the game.
Oh, got it.
They got dug into a big hole early and they just never climbed out. All their threes were rimming out. Like it was bad. They couldn't even make a layup. You know.
Right.
Um, And I think Baylor got like a taste of blood early too, and they were just like, "We're going to swarm every possession." They played defense hard. Gonzaga looked like they weren't playing defense at all the first half for sure. I mean, the amount of like no touch, no look buckets they were giving them.
Yeah. And,
Yeah,
and that's what I saw from the beginning. It just felt like Baylor wanted it. More.
yeah.
They were like, "Oh, we're the underdogs in this." Like, no way. Like, we have just as much right to be here as they do. And I mean, man, they took it to them.
I almost wonder if Gonzaga playing such a tough game Saturday and coming back and winning the game in the fashion they did was such an adrenaline dump that maybe they just were exhausted, man. Like it seems like they came in and were just hit. Like they were moving slower than Baylor. Like Baylor just seemed like the fresher team the entire time.
And it sounds a lot like the 2007 Patriots. They're chasing perfection. Gonzaga's chasing
Yep.
perfection. Hasn't been done in like almost 30 years or something.
Yep.
And
77.
yeah, so it's like even longer. Wow. But yeah, it's like they have that that overtime victory against UCLA, and then that was like their championship, and it
Yeah,
came to
for
this.
sure.
They got kind of taken off guard. It's kind of crazy.
It'll be interesting to see if it has any draft implications because I really thought Suggs could go number one, and now there's a lot of talk that he may go two. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but we didn't have any NCAA tournament last year, so we didn't get to see a lot of these kids play to the level that they could have. Now we got to see an entire tournament. We got to see every team, every player. It's a little more exciting this year for the draft because we're actually going to know these kids when they get drafted. Whereas this past year we didn't know a lot of them.
Right.
We knew Lamelo Ball mostly because of his family.
Yeah. And then pretty much after that, it was like kind of not a free for all, but it was like, oh, we're gonna. Wiseman was the guy. I remember. I think he took money or something like that. Got suspended, but he was like
Yep.
the big time prospect coming out. I knew that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
But
mean it's almost now like the new class is going to have prospects that are going to have good value right away because we've seen them in the tournament and there's fans of those guys. Whereas last year you almost had to come out in the NBA and show out to get any kind of hobby love because we had to see you perform because we didn't watch you all year.
right. And from what I've been hearing, it's like this isn't going to be a deep draft at all. I think people
Right.
might be wrong about that because a lot of these kids didn't come out, so they got a little bit more experience. I'm a fan of letting these kids come back for 2 or 3 more years. I know coming out early you get paid more. You get paid right away, but it's also dangerous too. It could really mess up your career. And but
Oh, for sure.
getting more experience really does help out. Like I love the fact that Tim Duncan played all 4 years at Wake Forest. look what that did to his
Yep,
career.
for
You know,
sure. I mean, developmentally, like it's just going to make you a better player. It's so hard though. Like if you're a top 10 guy and you know that you're literally, you're one blown ACL or a bad sprain from dropping in the draft stock to where it's millions and millions of dollars. Like if you're a top 10 kid, how do you not take the money? You almost have to, I think.
no,
You
yeah,
know, and again, if they were paying the NCAA players, the incentive wouldn't be as high potentially. But then again, how do you determine how that's going to work? Like, I don't know if long term that's even a thing, but we'll see.
yeah. I know. I think it's definitely going to be addressed here within the next 3 to 5 years. Something's going to be put in place for that at least. You know,
Yeah, I mean, it probably should be, right? I mean, even as a high school athlete, you almost have to give your whole life to it. It's hard to have a job and go to high school and play a sport. College, I can't even imagine. Like at that level, you're traveling all the time. Like it's almost impossible. Like, and how's a kid supposed to be able to eat and pay his bills and drive a car? And like, it's insane that we ask these kids don't take money, but also just like be really poor for 4 years. And then
yeah,
also like don't declare for the draft. Like just stay in school and stay poor, or go get millions.
yeah. Especially if you don't have a family, backing you like that. If you come from nothing,
Yeah,
that's all you got. It's pretty much just what the schools are giving you.
for sure. I mean, they are saying now that Baylor is a favorite to win the tournament again next year, which I think is really interesting because like, does that mean that they think a lot of these kids aren't going to declare? Because I mean, if I'm probably at least three of those kids, I'm 100% going into the draft. You're coming off an NCAA championship. You dominated a team that was literally undefeated. Go get paid.
Yeah,
Like why would you not?
yeah. No, exactly. And plus, with a lot of with some of these kids that are coming out, do you think with the card value and how everything has gone up so much, do you think like for instance, last year Lamelo Ball, their stock was just so high. Do you kind of see that going on next year for some of these players?
I do. I think they're going to come in more high just because we've got to see them play. I think there's going to be like 5 to 6 guys that are kind of coming in as stars. Whereas this year, I mean, I think honestly, outside of LaMelo, I don't really think Anthony Edwards entered as a star or Wiseman entered as a star. They were just name recognizable to a degree. Halliburton came on, Poku came on. But right now, I mean, the entire 2021 class is kind of resting on LaMelo's shoulders, who is injured.
Yeah,
Like,
and
if he
then
wasn't hurt right now, his stuff would be jumping through the roof.
yeah, because he
It's
would
still
definitely
expensive.
be rookie of the year. There
Yeah.
is no sure rookie of the year. I know everyone's talking about Anthony Edwards, but I looked at his stats and that guy's. I mean, I think he has like the 10th most shot this
Yeah.
year, and
Yeah.
he's barely averaging like 17 points. That's not good. I mean, I
Yeah. I
know.
mean, I don't think you can give it to him runaway right now.
No.
But in the same breath, like, I mean, there's some analysts are saying that LaMelo could still get it even being out. And I think that's probably not real.
Yeah, no. I mean, games played has to be a factor. It's like the
I
remember
mean,
the talk a few years ago with Zion. Oh, Zion played 20 games. Maybe we should talk about him. I know he was exciting, but there was no way he should have
yeah.
got it.
Yeah. He got third in Rookie of the Year voting. I mean, it went Ja, then Kendrick Nunn, then him.
Yeah,
And now Nunn, basically, you don't really hear a lot about Nunn at the Heat. Him and Tyler Hero both have kind of fallen off as far as hobby love.
yeah. No, the Tyler Hero train has been way high and then way low. He's one of those guys I think of like Michael Porter Jr. who are I just
Yeah.
can't believe their stuff is so high.
Yeah.
Just
It makes
it's
sense. I mean, MPJ, I think he's in a weird market, but I personally don't want any, just like I don't want any Darius Garlands. I'd rather have Colin Sexton. Like, I would much rather have Sexton stuff than Garland.
I
Um,
agree. I still think
I don't know. That'll be
Sexton's gonna be a good
interesting.
player.
Yeah. And I think that team needs a big leader. I mean, you got to think at one point they had LeBron.
Yeah.
So they need somebody in that organization to step up and be kind of the captain of the team type thing.
Yeah, but my fear with that is this Sexton when he becomes a free agent. Maybe he does decide to take an extension, but maybe he's just going to test free agency and get out of Cleveland because that
Yeah.
place is a dumpster fire. They're just going to lose
Yeah.
Kevin
There's zero
Love next
threat,
year.
right?
Yeah,
There's
there's
zero threat to do anything. Like,
unless they do something in the draft next year, but who knows? I can't imagine that Sexton's going to be there beyond year 5. if he
Yeah, I
decides
mean,
to.
that makes sense to me.
But next year, another big thing that happened yesterday, Sam Darnold got traded. This
Yeah.
is this is
Who
something
is Sam Darnold? Who is he? Does he play in the
uh,
NFL?
I still
Who
like.
is this guy?
I still like Sam Darnold. I still think
Buy you some Sam Darnolds.
I do have a few Sam Darnolds. I have some. And
Yikes. Yikes.
you say yikes, man. I still remember watching him. I think it was 4 or 5 years ago, man. That Rose Bowl game, and
Yeah.
he was
He was an amazing college quarterback that did not transition to the NFL well, which is the story of many a college quarterback.
and he's playing for the New York Jets.
I understand.
He is
Again, he is not a 500 quarterback even. Like, he is going to come out and lose more games than he wins, and he's not going to be an impactful player. I just don't see it.
he was playing for how many? He had Adam Gase as his coach now, who we realize is not a good coach. I once upon a time liked Adam Gase. I thought he was actually a decent offensive minded guy, but he's not. And so he's playing there. He's playing just in that organization where I just think doesn't develop talent. And now he goes to Matt Rule in North Carolina, who they were pretty competent last year with his first year as a head coach. And I think that he's going to kind of rejuvenate Darnold. I'm not saying he's going to be top five quarterback, but maybe something like, you know what Tannehill did? How Tannehill kind of made a little name for himself?
4-12. 4-12.
4-12. Let's see.
No, because there's an extended game, so it's actually I'm going to go
Oh
worse. It's going to be
yeah.
4-13.
I,
Four and
I
13.
I will bet you on that right now. Zach Blanchard, remember this. He says many USC quarterbacks struggle. He is right. A lot of USC quarterbacks do struggle, but I do think Sam Darnold's going to prove himself, and I will say the over on that. I will bet you 7 wins, and I will bet you a basic pack of Prism football. I don't know, or Optic football.
Be careful. Some of this stuff's expensive.
I know. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I will.
We'll discuss it, but just understand that Sam Darnold is a dumpster fire, and the reason the Jets were willing to trade him is that they don't need him. You know, they've got clearly a shot at Trevor Lawrence, which I think they're going to, or not Trevor Lawrence. Who are they saying
Fields.
they're picking now?
Fields.
Fields. Yeah,
Yeah.
Justin Fields. They'll take Fields. I think it makes sense.
No, and I think Fields is going to be a good quarterback. And then
He will win more games than Sam Darnold will win.
not on the New York Jets. I'll tell you that.
We can talk about it. We
Yeah,
can talk about it because I disagree.
I will say though, I do like their head coach. I like Robert Salah. I think he is phenomenal. So I do think there is going to be some success there with him as a head coach because I think that guy right out of the gate. I was hoping the Eagles would have got him, but
Yeah.
yeah, man, he's definitely going to be good. And then Zach
Zach
Wilson.
Wilson's going to be amazing. Yeah, Zach Wilson's going to be amazing.
He's going to be like the third quarterback drafted though, right?
I believe so. Yes,
I think
he's in this product. He's in that product you bought from me.
Oh
See?
yeah,
It's got his auto. Oh, look how good I am with the photo. There he is, Zach Wilson auto. Bang.
Yeah, we're going to be opening that at the end of the show, guys.
But yeah,
But yeah, if you want to buy some Sam Darnold, go get you some
Oof.
because
Oof.
I think his stock's gonna go up. Ken doesn't think so, but I do.
I think your best bet is to take your money, rip it in half, and keep one half of it and hope the bank will replace it than buying Sam Darnold. Like, that's a better investment of your money.
I guess.
Sam Darnold is straight dumpster fire.
Yeah,
I'd rather dig up Ryan Leaf and bring him back.
Oh wow, that's come on, man. That's
Okay, I'll go one last dig at Sam Darnold. I would rather have Scam Newton.
I don't know. Scam Newton won an MVP, so if Sam Darnold could win an MVP.
What was that, like 28 years ago? Was it 28 years ago before he was a vegan and his bones were breaking all the time? Stop it.
The 2015 season. I'm not a big Cam Newton fan. Just saying though, if he could live up to that, that's kind of some good hype.
Who is? Apparently the Patriots. Bill Belichick loves him for some reason. I think Belichick's got something up his sleeve though. He knows something we don't know. And I don't believe that it's Cam's all of a sudden good. I don't believe that.
No, he just likes the way Cam runs the offense. It's just something to do with that. But
Or he knows there's a kid coming up like a year or two from now, and he's got his eyes on that kid. Like, I really wonder what's going on. Like, I think there's more to it. Like, that guy's super calculated. I don't think he's just going to let a mid-level quarterback come in and run his squad forever.
well, what I think is going to actually happen is I think Jimmy G is going to be going to New England on draft day. I think the Niners are going to realize they're going to pick the quarterback, Zach Wilson. He's going to start, and the Patriots are going to trade for Jimmy G. They're going to give up that top. They have a really good pick. What is it? I think eighth or ninth, and the Niners are just going to do that. But
That makes sense to me. I mean, and honestly, I think at some point in the season you'll see Jimmy G starting.
oh yeah,
I don't know that he's QB1 on opening day, but I think he starts at some point.
yeah, I agree. I think he will be back in New England before the season starts. So,
I
but
hope so because I actually think he's talent at least.
yeah, no, he could definitely run the Belichick offense the way they like it and stuff. And the Patriots are always thinking two steps ahead, like Blanchard said. They're usually the
Oh,
smartest
for
team
sure.
in the room.
That's why I just don't believe that they're going to set their sights on Cam running another, you know, bare minimum season. And, I think at any point he's going to break in half anyway.
I think like with not only the Jimmy G going there, but Cam Newton had something going last year before he got COVID. The team was heading to like 500 at that point in season. And then he gets I think he was out 2 games, 3 games, and then he just never looked the same. He looked like the old
Yeah.
scam Newton that you were talking about. But
Well, yeah, and it's that diet, baby. You can't just eat grass and plants and be an NFL quarterback. Like you send that man over here, let me give him some steaks. Like I'll rehab him better, and like he'll come back as a man. Like I don't know what he's doing, man. He's got to take his salad away and put some meat in front of him. Let's turn him back into a superstar. Where's the
uh,
Superman thing where he rips his jersey open and there's a Superman crest? Like what happened?
yeah, well, with Zach Blanchard, thanks again, Zach, for the comment. He actually reminded us about the 2 tight ends that they actually picked up there in New England. They are going to have a good offense, and they brought a
Yeah,
lot of pieces in for that defense. Which you already know the Belichick defense is going to be back to normal. Um, but man, there's going to be a lot that's going to happen there. I think on draft day, that not only will I think one quarterback get moved, I think the Patriots are going to either trade up for Jimmy G or they're going to trade back come that day. But
yeah.
next year we have select football coming out cards. I know you're excited about this because those boxes are insanely expensive.
Oh yeah. So that comes in tomorrow. They're 1,500 a box. It's the highest they've ever come out at. Generally speaking, they come out around 500 to 600 max, and then they creep up to around 900. They're coming out at 1,500 this year. 2020 class. It'll be in tomorrow. We will be doing some single box breaks of them just because they're so expensive. We'll probably get to run them like 32 spots at 49 or something in that range. Maybe at 48. I don't know. Give everybody a buck off or something. But
Yeah,
either way, they're going to be super expensive, but high yield. I mean, that's where you find your black 101s. That's where you find your golds out of 10. There's some big stuff in that stuff.
like who are you going to be looking out for the most? Like Justin Herbert, like
Yeah, for sure. Herbert Burrow stuff is down a little bit since the injury, but not really. Like, I mean, they just announced the other day that he's been throwing like since February. They're saying he's running drills. They're just being really quiet about it. But I think he's going to come back and be ready to start game one. I think he's going to be just as good as he was, if not better.
I hope so too, man. Joe Burrow, I still think he's the real deal. I think out of this last year, you're looking at Herbert long term and Burrow long term as the
Yep.
just the two guys. I don't know if Tua is
What
going
do
to
you
be like.
think happens with? Because it's kind of weird. Like 3 months ago would have been Herbert, Burrow, Tua, and then Hurts. I kind of feel like Hurts now has kind of moved into the Tua spot because people are kind of moving away from Tua.
I would put him in that 3 spot. I don't put him past. I think Burrow just there's so much talent there, even with the injury. It was kind of like when Carson Wentz got hurt in 2017. It's like you would still want this guy as your future. Obviously, that panned out. That looks way different. But with what Tua could still bring to the table, you still want that guy behind Justin or Herbert.
Does Tua start for the Dolphins game one,
I
or
I
does he
don't
get traded before?
I don't know. It's really weird because obviously the Dolphins traded out of the 4 spot or 5 spot, with the Niners. So I don't know what they're going to do. I think Tua's the guy there now.
It almost seems like they, with that trade, are saying Tua is the guy.
Yeah, because they're not trading for Deshaun Watson no more. Now with all now that guy is
No,
in charge.
nobody's touching him.
The
Yeah, he's
police are
got
looking
criminal
into him.
charges now. Yeah, no way.
The NFL might step in. I mean, they should step
Here's
in.
a weird one though. What about Jimmy G for Tua as a backup over there?
I
That gets
mean,
weird.
yeah,
That,
Flores, being a New England guy, knows Jimmy G. I just don't see it, but I mean, who knows?
I've seen a couple ideas. I mean, Minshew would be another one. Minshew for him.
I like Minshew. I would not trade. I think Tua has a little bit higher stock than what Minshew. But I think they could definitely trade a second round pick for him. I mean, get
Where it gets,
Minshew, who has 2 years left, paying him cheap.
yeah. I mean, do you see Trevor Lawrence being a backup to Minshew though?
No, not at all. Minshew's gone. I think Minshew's gone. I don't think with hiring Saban, with doing all that, that they're just going to bring in Trevor Lawrence. Like, oh, you're sitting. No, they're going to try to maximize this guy's value, because there's not enough said about having that quarterback rookie contract for it's 5 seasons. I mean, man, it is such a great, you know, just piece for them. Sorry, they're saying my
Oh
audio
yeah.
is still low. Let me try to. I hope my audio is better there now. But yeah, man, having that rookie contract there for the quarterbacks, man, it's so valuable. And so if you get Lawrence in there, you want him starting day one.
For sure.
He's definitely going to be ready for that. I mean, I hope there's a Lawrence auto in that box there today. That'd be kind of nice.
That'd be fun.
That would be super fun.
Better at Justin Fields would be cool.
Yeah, yeah, one of those guys. That'd be cool to have here before the draft. So that up. Next year, man. Well, baseball's back. Let's transition to some baseball. We had a opening
Baseball's
day.
back.
I know we had the Mets yesterday start their first game against the Phillies, and DeGrom pitched.
Who?
The New York Mets, my Mets.
There's a team in New York that's not the Yankees.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There
That's
is.
weird.
Well, I
That's so
mean,
strange.
after watching yesterday's game, man, I mean, I watched every inning of it and every pitch. And DeGrom, who is the best pitcher in baseball, pitched like the best pitcher in baseball. And then the Mets did the Mets thing, and they gave up 5 runs in one inning and lost the game,
Yeah,
of course. And
they're fantastic. Well, I mean, my Cardinals, I think, lost by like 200 yesterday. Like they literally got shelled by the Reds. So
yeah, I'm not worried about the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals, Nolan Arenado, man, I'm still that's my guy for this season, who I want to see just thrive the most out of any player in baseball this year. I want to see him thrive the most, because being in that Rocky situation where I just think, they try to trade him, then he just had this whole dispute with them.
oh yeah,
I just want to let this whole season play out. Him win a Gold Glove, him hit like 345, 50 home runs. I would buy his cards.
yeah.
I love his stuff. He's awesome.
I'm excited for his first Cardinal autos. Like that'd be cool as a Cardinal fan.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, me personally, I have a ton of Yachty stuff. You know, um,
yeah,
just
yeah.
because I think he is the Cardinal that really matters on the team as far as value.
Yeah, we talked about Yachty last week, man. I mean, I think he will retire at the end of the season, and I think his stuff is going to pop. And
Oh yeah,
another guy sort of came back too, who hit a home run over the weekend, was Buster Posey. Man, it's good to see him back. After
yeah.
the injuries and pretty much being out all last year, and the Giants they stink. But
Do you
you know
think Posey's a Hall of Famer right now?
I do. Yeah, 3 World Series. I mean, dude,
Yeah,
he was the best. Him and Yachty, man, the two best catchers in baseball. I mean,
yep.
and being
He's
a
got
part of
better offensive numbers, I guess.
he does, but I mean, I wouldn't say so much better. Yachty's his season or his career average is almost 300. I mean,
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
271, right?
yeah, something like that. But he, with those numbers in the beginning being kind of low, but being through the
Hmm.
middle part of his career, being very good. And same with Buster Posey. I mean, being just back, almost not back to back, but every other year winning a World Series, and almost even going back after that, and doing it with different pitching staffs. In 2010, he won it with Lincecum and Matt Cain. And then 2 years later, Matt Cain was the ace. Lincecum had sort of fallen off. And then doing it again with Bumgarner. I know Bumgarner was there for the last two, I believe, but he was the.
Well, you got to think too. He came back from a horrific injury that a lot of guys would have been scared to even sit behind the plate ever again. I mean, I'm sure there was some demons there he had to kind of shake off to. Every time somebody's coming charging down that third base line, the rules are a little different still, but I mean, we've seen it even in the last couple of years. You can still get contact.
Yeah, no, it's true, man. I know they also changed that rule right after he got hurt too, where you can't charge at it like that or be in front of the plate as much. But
which I actually hate because I think they took away the most exciting thing in baseball, which is a guy's on second. It's the last inning, last out, and a guy hits a single, and the guy from second has to get home. And baseball's already a slow sport.
Yeah, I like it just because how many catchers were we seeing get hurt? Probably like over the years. I guess not as much, but man, like just that sheer collision, you just want to try to avoid that as much as possible. I know it's really fun because what could happen at the end of it. But
I just feel like in a world where we can make an ear in a lab, we can make some protective equipment so that they can take a hit from a guy running at 15 miles an hour.
Yeah,
in my opinion, like in a world where we can literally build an ear that works, like we can come up with some protective equipment. Look at the guys in hockey, man. They literally take their skates off and slice each other with them. Like we can't have a collision at the plate and you're in pads. Like, come on, man.
I just think for the catcher, which is I think the hardest position in baseball.
100%.
Being there, doing that, then having to worry about that. And I'm sure some of the catchers who played that position will agree with you that they wish the rules were kind of back to the old ways. But I think for overall, like losing Buster Posey for a whole year, that season, the guy, he was one of the best players in baseball at the time, and you lose him for the whole year. You just want to try to prevent those injuries as much as you possibly can.
If he doesn't get injured, though, the rule probably hasn't changed yet.
No, it's definitely at the Tom Brady effect that rule doesn't change either in 2008 when that happened.
Yep.
But yeah, I had a friend just text me. He's like laughing at me because the Mets bullpen imploded yesterday, of course. but yeah.
I mean, I heard the Mets. They're good. They're a good team. Sure they are.
No, not a good team. Bullpen stinks like always. But yeah, man, we had over the weekend Shohei Ohtani being Ohtani coming back. Hopefully, there's some bright spots to him. Hopefully, he can stay healthy, especially with
that guy. He's amazing, man. I had a card shop in 2018 when he first came up, and people were coming in all the time asking about him, calling him the next Babe Ruth. Because he's both sides of the plate. He's an incredible pitcher. He just threw the fastest fastest pitch this season, and then hit the longest home run of the season. I don't know if that stands though, because Stanton just hit a 478 yesterday.
Yeah, and man, that home run though, that was a moonshot.
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't believe how much pop he got on that because it looked kind of awkward when he first swung, and man, that was
for sure
a moonshot. And then you have that could be a great team if they all could come together. Trout hit his first home run yesterday, and
I just still think they're going to be the best team in baseball that never gets very far. I don't know what it is. It just seems like they have all the payroll, they have all the superstars, and never put it together.
It's that pitching staff. That pitching staff is, they could just never get a quality guy. I really thought that they were going to be in on Bauer, like more in on Bauer than the rumors were there. But they were just never rumored in on him, which was kind of shocking. Maybe they didn't want to pay him all that money, and I understand because they're already up to that threshold.
Yeah.
But still,
they have a massive salary.
With not having the pitching, a deep pitching staff, an ace who is there, I really thought they would have been more in on Bauer just because of the fact of that. And who cares money at this point? Like for Artie Moreno, man, it doesn't make sense because the year prior they gave Rendon $245, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, God, so you're paying him all that money, and then you're essentially saying, "Oh, let's just forget about trying to compete." I'm just going to pay you guys out. It just doesn't make sense to me. But the Angels, I mean, with their offense, if they could score runs, they have a shot.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I always feel like they're not a threat because they don't have all the tools. You know,
What
on paper they should be a threat as far as their offense looks like it should be great, but
Where are you at on some of their players' cards? So like Albert Pujols, where are you at on his cards?
I would say he's a buy right now because I think we're going to see a pop when he retires, especially if he ends up going to 700, being the only player in history to get to 700 home runs without ever testing for any kind of PEDs modern day.
Yeah, yeah. What about Shohei? Right now, I know his cards are up definitely from when I saw
Um,
2 months ago.
I think if you would have bought him preseason, you did great. And buying them right now when he's at probably the height of what he's going to be at this season, I would not personally buy Otani stuff right now. I don't see the benefit of buying when stuff's high. I like to buy when stuff's low.
Yeah,
So if
especially
you would have taken a flyer on him early, I like it, but not now. Like,
he
why?
he just got hurt too, so and
Yeah.
that's just already.
And that's the whole thing. Like, is he going to throw 100 miles an hour every game? I mean, that'd be cool. Is he going to hit a home run every game? That'd be cool. But, like, when the bar is so high and you're probably on a team that's not going to really win, I mean, I'm not putting $1 in that guy.
Yeah, no, and the last player I want to talk about is Mike Trout. Like I know his cards are insanely high. Would you buy Mike Trout cards right now? Because I can't imagine they're going to get lower than what they are, right?
My answer is I would not buy any of the rookies right now because I think they're already at a precipice or what I would even call too high. I mean, you got to think like his update tops, which is a benchmark card, it's a huge card. That was a retail product. You could buy all you wanted of 2011 update at Walmart, Target, etc. They made millions and millions of that card. Look at the pop report. It's insane because everyone grades them because they're expensive.
Right.
There's no way in the world I would go after Trout rookies. What I would say is if you can find an on-card Trout auto in a year
Yeah.
for 500 or less, it's a good buy.
Yeah, and you're just not going to find it for $500 or less. There's just no way.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm at. That's kind of like if I'm at a card show and I'm looking and if I see like a 5-star on-card auto numbered out of 50 and it's $500, I'm buying it.
Here's a question for you. Would you prefer to buy a Trout card over an Acuna or Tatis card? Because they're
For
almost
me,
going
yes.
at the same price, right?
Yeah, for me, yes. Just because even like Tatis, like he just got injured.
Yeah.
Um, I think, you could see a little dip. I could see him dropping 20, 25% right now while he's hurt, which actually, if you love Tatis, that's a good buy. Again, he plays for the Padres.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, I mean, for me, like these young guys, like I know the big three now is Soto, Tatis, and Acuna.
Yeah.
I don't want any of their stuff. Like me personally, I don't care about any of their stuff.
The only player I'd really go after there is Soto, just because he's already won a World Series, and he was one of the main guys on that World Series that really made a difference, and only being 19 when he won, and I really think there's going to be a lot there. He's my
I
favorite
just think
young guy.
you got to go from our perspectives may differ because are you going from a collector standpoint of man I'd like to have a dope Soto in my collection, or are you talking an investor standpoint like me as someone who invests more than collects at this point? His stuff's already so high. If you wanted to buy Soto, you should have bought it 2 years ago.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. Like there's no way.
The guy who I would want to see with their cards coming back up is the uh, Guerrero with
Yeah.
with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. with his cards being somewhat around $100 a PSA 10 if you're looking for just as a Topps Chrome. It's in around $100. That's kind of a good price for what I think, especially with where all the other players are at with Tatis and them being so high. I think if Vlad Jr. could come back to actually be competent, not, but he also lost 50 pounds. I'm not gonna overreact to what I saw over the weekend. They end up beating the Yankees 2 out of 3, but the jury.
I think for Vlad to get even back to where he was, because you got to remember at one point he was much more than Tatis even. Like he was
Yeah.
the guy to pull. Like you pull Vlad, and then Tatis was the secondary guy. That's obviously switched places now. But for Vlad to get the hobby collector value back, which again, I've spoke about this. Once you lose the collector value, it's really tough.
Yeah.
He's going to have to win. It doesn't matter that he got shredded and that he got a nutritionalist and he lost some weight. Like, that's great. You're not the chubby kid anymore. But unless he puts up numbers, man, he needs to hit 300 or better. He's got to put up 25 homers. Like, and that team needs to win.
Yes. That's the other thing too. Is I mean, I think they actually can win. You know, with acquiring George Springer and doing all, I really think they can win, and actually, you know, because the Red Sox, they look like they're going to stink. They lost.
Mm-hmm.
They got swept over the weekend. That team's pitching is just terrible. I don't see how they are going to even stay in that race. But other than the Yankees and the Rays, I really think it's going to be a toss up between those three teams on who could actually win that division.
See, I could see inside of 3 years with all the young talent, I could see the Blue Jays winning a World Series. But I also feel like the Braves could win one too if they put it together. Like, it's one of those two young teams.
You think because obviously the favorites are the Dodgers, or
Yeah.
even right now the Padres are like the second or favorite to win just because their pitching and everything is so deep.
Yeah. I just think it's going to be one of those, in the next 3 years, we're going to have a year where it's like a bunch of lower tier stars put it together.
Yeah.
And they take off the old guard. You know, like, do I think that if I was a wagering enthusiast, would I bet against the Dodgers? No, I mean, they're the Dodgers and they have basically every tool.
You know what the funniest thing is about the Tatis is, you know, the White Sox have to be kicking themselves because they traded Tatis for James Shields.
Yeah.
And man, that trade looks all bad. That James Shield trade was just terrible. They gave him, I think it was the Padres that gave him all that money, and then they traded for that contract for Tatis. And then now it's like, I think now you won't see trades like that happen for
Sure.
like be irrational. Well, actually, I take that back. The Mets did that for Robinson Cano, who took steroids and not playing this year, for Jared Kalenic, who is going to be.
But if we're talking about like actual baseball teams, we're not even going to talk about the Mets, right? Like, if we're talking about teams that can actually string together wins and are relevant, like, again, we're not going to talk about the Mets. Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. That's the last time I will refrain to the Mets in this.
They don't exist. They don't exist. They don't have any pitching.
Well, their season's over after yesterday's game.
Yes. One game and it's done. They're out.
Is there anything else that baseball you want to talk about before we move on to some NBA talk?
The Topps Tribute comes out this week. It's a super high-end product. We'll have a little bit of it. Lots of autographs per box. It's a fun product. A lot of vet autos. A little bit of rookie stuff, but a lot of vet autos. So, you know, if you want to hit a Trout, that's a good spot to try to hit a Trout. He's always on the checklist. So that'll be fun. I think they're $500 a box-ish, somewhere around there.
Is that a good price?
Pretty much right. Yeah, I mean, that's last year it would have been $350. Now it's $500. I mean, in the new market, that's probably right. Everything's expensive right now. That's the thing. Like, there's nothing coming out that is coming out at the same price it was last year, no matter what sport it is.
Yeah, unless you're going to Target or Walmart and buying some retail product.
Yep, but definitely hobby box wise, like, there's nothing that's even close to last year's price. Like, it's all like double or triple almost.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
And you don't see that coming down, do you?
I don't see it coming down anytime soon, especially when they just released pricing for National Treasures football and it's $5,000 a box. Flawless football is well over $10,000 a case. Well over $10,000 a case.
That's not even worth it, right?
I mean, it just depends. Like, I think the market is moving right now in a direction where people are not going to be doing personal boxes as much because the price is so high and the barrier to entry is going up. But what we're going to see is breaking is going to even get more enhanced as these prices are so high that it makes more sense to throw $100 at a Prism break than it does to spend $2,500 on a hobby box.
Right.
You know, like, if I put $100 into a Prism break and I miss, it's not going to hurt me that bad. But if I put $2,500 in and I get a silver of a dude that doesn't play and an auto of a vet that's worthless, I just lost $2,500.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't make that money back up. It's just so much money. Like I would complain about if I got into a box at a $500 and not hitting anything. I would be pissed.
And the thing is, I mean, it's really honest. Is you're going to miss more often than you're going to hit. That's why the hits are worth so much money.
Right. Yeah.
But in the same breath, like that National Treasures, that's 5,000 a box, which I won't even be breaking because I don't break things that expensive. I think it's too much risk for my guys. But if you hit the Justin Herbert logo patch 101 rookie out of NT, it's going to be a 6-figure card. What's tough is that sounds like so much money, but it's only 20 times box price.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's only one in the world.
And you want to, I don't care how good the potential of Justin Herbert would be. I'm selling that card right away.
100%, I would 100%. I had the Tua 101 Immaculate Shield auto. I had it for less than an hour. I bought it off a guy and sold it within an hour for a very large sum. And now that guy's actually gotten away from Tua. He quit collecting Tua because he just feels like it was going down the drain kind of thing.
Yeah, that's just insane. Let's talk some NBA talk. We're pretty close here. I think about a little over 5 weeks left in the season, and man, there's a lot going on. The Lakers have dropped out. I don't see them coming back up anytime soon because Anthony Davis is not. There's no signs of him coming back. I think him and LeBron already have it planned out to where it's like there's going to be 3 weeks left in the season, and they're like, okay, we're in a comfortable seed. We're going to be in the 6th or 7th seed, and we can handle that. Whatever team they play, I still think they're going to play. They're going to play their way into shape. They're going to be ready and get going. I think with either the Lakers, even though with how deep the West is, I don't really know what team is going to come out of the West that is going to be a big threat to the Lakers besides the Clippers and I would say Utah.
Yeah, I mean the Jazz I think are going to be your biggest threat personally. I mean, if I had to pick kind of a team to win the whole thing right now that wasn't named the Lakers or the Nets, I would pick the Jazz.
And that's because of how the only way I see it happening, and I say the Jazz too, is because I think Donovan Mitchell, I think he has, from what we've seen him in the playoffs, I really think that guy could turn it on a notch or two.
For sure.
And a lot of people are like saying, "Oh, why not the Nuggets?" I just think they're so inconsistent right now. Like that really scares me. Like with how Jamal Murray is, like I thought that guy was amazing in the playoffs, and everyone did last year. But with how he's just fallen off this season, it's like, are you gonna get this guy or are you gonna get that guy from last year? But if Jamal Murray could return to that, they have a shot too. I just don't like it when players play this inconsistent for all season.
I mean, if I had to pick right now, a healthy Lakers team's probably unbeatable.
Yeah. Oh, easily. No one could guard Anthony Davis, and LeBron's the best player in the world.
Yeah. So it just is really going to depend on how healthy they are when they come back, and are they able to get back into flow. I think if they come back with 3 games left, they house everybody and they just win outright.
Yeah,
and at that point, it's almost like GOAT status for. I mean, I would almost. The debate is always going to exist. Who's the greatest of all time? But even if we just say modern day, like I think it's got to be LeBron at this point.
Oh, easily. I think LeBron is the best player to ever play. Just because I think degree of difficulty and everything that is kind of he's faced, and just I think it's just much more talented today. I think the game's a lot harder today than it was.
My only concern there is in Jordan's era, we didn't have as much super teams. Your super teams were usually one star, a secondary guy like a Pippen, and then you'd have like one big burly center like a Luke Longley,
But like that's what I mean though. It's like there was really no team that could face the Bulls like that. It's like there's a super team every year almost now. Besides last season, there wasn't. I don't think a super team. But
yeah,
you see this year with the Nets, that's a super team. I think they're gonna be locked into the East. The East doesn't outside. I don't think the 76ers could beat them. I think
No.
Milwaukee's the only team that can, but Giannis just hasn't proven that he can win you know, go past the conference finals. And I mean,
Yeah, I just don't think he's that strong in the playoffs. I think he's another. I mean, to me, I almost wonder if he's got. I don't want to say cardio issues, but he just doesn't seem to have staying power.
I think he's like the Barkley of this era, you
Yeah.
know, and I'm not the one to come up with that. I think Zach Lowe's the one to come up with that. I've heard, but like, you know, he that's a great comparison. You know, so far he has been like Barkley, and Barkley phenomenal player, but you know, just does never get past it. And you
Yeah.
know, he made I think one finals, but lost it. But you
There's
know,
just too many good teams right now. To I don't know. I don't foresee the Bucks doing anything or making any real noise. The real question though is, do you give MVP to Joker or to Giannis, or has LeBron done enough to be in the talks still? Or if
LeBron.
Mitchell ends up turning it on, do you give it to Mitchell?
No, I don't think Mitchell. I At this point, I really think it's either people are talking about Harden. Yeah, right. No way. With what
Yeah.
Harden did, this basically played himself out of there. No way. I can't even fathom giving that guy, you know, that sort of, you know, award. And I think
Well, he's
it's
hurt now too, right?
yeah, he just got hurt, so which is
Yeah.
a good thing. I really want to put that to bed. I don't want to have James Harden in that discussion at all. I loved James Harden for years, but after what he did this season, no way. Lost all my respect. But with, I think it's definitely either going to be Joker, but Joker he hasn't really like had these blowout games. So which is why Giannis could definitely play himself into it. The only way LeBron could win it is if he comes back really soon. LeBron would have to come back with about a month in the season, I think. If it's any less than a month, I don't think that they could give it to him, just because the games played has to matter.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
know,
I think it has to. I think it has to. I mean, that's what, again, in all of these awards, I mean, that's what kept Zion from getting Rookie of the Year,
yeah. People were like,
you
"Oh,
know?
Zion should get it with only playing like 30% of the games." Like, no way, John Morant almost played the whole
No.
season.
Yeah, and was dominant the whole season, too.
Oh
That's
yeah,
the thing. Like he was strong from jump.
yeah. You know, I just think this like it's like all recency bias. You know, Zion is the hottest player in the NBA at that's not named Luca at a young age. You know, like
Yep.
but it's just so interesting just because of the fact like okay, should we really like go this way like just because they think that someone is so hot should win the MVP or should get this award. But
So who wins more rings long term, Luca, Zion, or Ja on
uh,
their entire career?
man, Luca, after watching him in the playoffs last year, if that guy had a little bit more help, I would have loved to see how they could have, you know, matched up even more because, they win the one playoff series, and they go on and get put out. But it's just really interesting to see how that guy is so good. The way he
So is
can,
that your pick?
oh, it's definitely Luca. Yeah,
Okay.
I just don't think Zion could be healthy long term, man. I just don't. Like Zion, I
For the
like
league, we need him to be, though.
yes for the league definitely because when LeBron is done, who's going to be the guy past? Because it's not Giannis. It's not
No,
Giannis,
not at
and
all. He's
it's
never going to be the face.
yeah, and it's like so obviously LeBron I think so has at least 2 or 3 more years, so there could be somebody coming out of the woodwork, but it's just I don't think it's Giannis to take it. Maybe Curry's there. I like as far as like as a everyone loves him sort of personality. I
For sure.
but I just don't as the best player who long term because LeBron's been it man. Like I thought he overtook Kobe very early. You know, with all due respect to Kobe, I know Kobe owned LA, but like man, LeBron just was there, and he was every bit as good as we thought he was going to be, man.
For sure. He
But
lived up to the hype really fast. Zion, I mean, Zion's having a year or two, though, so it's like his stuff was so expensive already from a hobby standpoint. It's really tough because, like,
yeah,
where can it go from here? Like, his stuff's already to the moon.
I was here's a question for you then. Who would you rather own, long term? Luca, Ja, or Zion?
I
What's it?
would pick Luca just because I think they also have the money behind the team to put together the pieces to get wins.
You don't think? Yeah, I understand the Pelicans. They are definitely not a team that really. With their future though, they have a lot. They have a lot there that they could work with. They have some picks. They have some talent there actually around him. They're going to probably trade Lonzo Ball and get something in return for him. Um, I
I tend
think.
to like shooters more though. Like I mean, like to me, the best modern day player that is not named LeBron is Curry.
Oh yeah,
Uh, so I like Curry over Dame. I like Curry over Donovan. Like I like Curry over Tatum. Like I mean, me personally, but I
yeah,
like
yeah,
his personality. You know what I mean? Like I just like him as a complete human. Like even off the court, like he seems like a good, solid cat. So
yeah. No, I agree. Like either him or I would rather own John Morant, whose cards are I think at a pretty good price right now. I'd rather
yeah,
own a few more of his cards than I would Zion. With Zion just being so expensive, and with Ja, I think more long term is going to be just the better player, and
yeah. My
just
answer
stick
is
with it.
Luca, but then I'm going to trade it for a good Curry because I'd rather keep Curry long term than anybody.
Oh, well, you can't throw that in there. Curry, he has three titles already. But
He's
yeah,
there. I like that. I like
yeah.
guys that are already there. I like some safe investments.
No, no,
You know,
me too, man. That's why I've been like, so I've been
that's why I
heavy.
like that's why I like this stuff. See,
Yeah, no,
you know,
vintage, yeah, man,
that's
vintage.
why I like vintage.
I've been, I bought a Albert Pujols collection from this guy. He, I have like all these Pujols like cards. They're all
That's a
second,
good one.
they're all second year stuff. Yeah, I got his rookie with the Ichiro.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I got a lot of his second year stuff, but man, it's like 150 bucks. I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm all about that's I surf trying to find the deals instead of going out to boxes, and I get into breaks still, but like only I plan on more just getting into the vintage breaks as we were talking about yesterday because long term, it's like these things you want to hold these as value, and it's like vintage, and sure things are is where the value is at.
yeah. I mean, I obviously like I do a lot of vintage. I think it's a really good store of value as far as if you put $100 into a vintage card, it's still worth 100 or more a year from now. Like, there's nothing stopping vintage right now.
Right. Yeah.
You
No,
know,
it's true, and I mean even if you look back 20 years ago, vintage baseball was always hot. Vintage baseball is still going to be hot.
you know
Uh,
what's weird is I bought my first Mantle rookie for $800 in 2004,
wow.
and my most recent one I bought was 35,000.
Yeah. So
Yeah. And now that card that I bought for 35, you can't find for less than 100,000.
wow. That is. I mean, yeah, that's just the way the market's got so hot. I mean, I don't know if that comes down or not, but I think people are just. I think the people that own those cards are gonna be like, yeah, right. This isn't coming down because there's nothing else like it.
Well, and
Like
look at it from a commodity standpoint.
yeah,
Like, so the new guys are all a risk, right?
yeah,
You
of
you,
course.
you put 100,000 into Tatis and he gets hurt. If I have 100,000 also of Mantle that's going up steadily every year, it kind of is a hedge against the risk factor of buying into the new guys. Like having vintage is almost like a store of small percentage investment gains.
No, it's so true. It is really true. It's like you could definitely return on an investment what you're going to get long term with a Mantle or with
Yep.
Clemente. So I love that Roberto Clemente I got yesterday. I was like really like happy.
Yeah,
It's my third
it was
card.
awesome.
Yeah, no man, it's
But
like
like,
but
think
stuff
about
like
this.
that.
Like, I lost 40,000 on a quarterback last year named Jarrett Stidham,
Well,
and
that's your mistake for thinking Stidham was going to be anything.
uh, but at the end of the day, like my vintage stuff that I owned went up much more than that.
Yeah,
So in some ways, it balances me being able to take the shot because I wasn't in Stidham long term. I was in Stidham if he starts game one and wins game one.
right.
I'm getting rid of everything that day. Like the next day, I'm selling all of it.
Yeah, yeah,
And if I made 25% and make 10,000 in a day, that'd have been awesome. Instead, I got murdered on it because they signed Cam Newton.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, my vintage stuff went up much more than the losses on that one young player I took a shot on.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like the thing is you can't change history on great players. You just can't. With all the hype, like we were talking about earlier with the Michael Porter Jr. with and Tyler Hero. I could not believe how much their cards are. It's
Yeah.
unbelievable, and people love their stuff. And like, it's great if you're a fan. I understand, but there's no way I want to spend $1,000 on a Michael Porter rookie junior card.
I mean, I look at Hero kind of like baby Luca. Like he's kind of like a lesser version of Luca. He's like the 60% Luca.
Not even 60.
But
Sorry, like 30.
I don't know, man. Like
I,
he's got swagger, which I think is good. You know, he seems culturally relevant. I feel like he's a guy that's kind of in the culture of the NBA. It's going to be tough, though.
yeah, I mean, being on the Heat team, like with that coach, with that, GM, like I think he would have thrived a little bit more. Like I think like someone like Carl Sexton, who you think would have grown a lot more by now, would have been kind of there. Imagine him in Miami. Like I like to think about this, like players in really losing situations, like the organization just being a failure. So there's a lot of feedback coming from me right
Is that better?
now. No, you're really it's really loud there. Um,
How about now?
good, you're good, man. Um, but But yeah, I think with players in losing situations, I think there's definitely like a motivation factor in all that. Sorry.
There's a superstar on the podcast now.
I know,
So
man.
there's
Yeah,
Star Dog.
Doodle Biscotti before he gets neutered in 2 days.
Oh boy,
I
look
know.
at
He's gonna
you!
have a lot of fun, man. He's gonna have a lot of fun.
How dare you?
I
How
know.
dare you?
Chopping off his manhood.
How dare you?
It's my Labradoodle. But yeah, man. I think just players in situations like that. He's in a winning situation, Tyler Hero, and that's just it. I just don't think he's gonna be ever better than a six man of the year or something like that.
So aggressive.
I know, man. It's so aggressive. You're right. You're right. All right, man. Let's get into some lifestyle talk. I think we talked
Yeah.
about sports. Guys, this lifestyle talk segment is called "Why Would You Not?" Ken, what is your "Why Would You Not" for this week?
So my why would you not still lives in the sports realm a little bit, um, because I've talked a lot about on the pod kind of the things I do. You know, I eat a certain diet, I jump in the cryo tank, I take cold showers. My why would you not is something I should have done 20 years ago when I was told this by a very intelligent sports card investor who at the time was making a killing and has since made even more money in the sports card world. And it was every deal you do, every box you open, or every now break you get in, take one piece from that and stick it in a safety deposit box.
Are you talking
And
about graded or just in general? Anything?
just in general, if you get into, like, for example, you got into a couple vintage breaks, that Clemente you got in the vintage break, put it in the safety deposit box and don't look at it again for a long time. You know, and if you do that over the course of your collecting career, eventually 20 years from now you're going to have a insane amount of good stuff that you've set back. And like me, I buy collections every week. You know, literally last night at 11 o'clock at night we're buying a card deal. I
What'd you
buy
get in that
collections
card deal?
it was a bunch of like high-end hobby sealed boxes that a guy had collected,
Okay,
so just some good sealed product.
nice.
But if I would for the last 20 years, every time I made a deal, tossed one piece from that into a safety deposit box, I would have a pretty insane PC of a variety of things, you know.
Yeah,
And I think there's a value in that because like we all try to maximize, I think, especially if you're somebody who flips cards like I am.
yeah,
I want to maximize right away. You know, I want to spend, X dollars and get back 1.5x right away, and get it back. But 1.4x would be just as good if one card was big and sitting in a box. So
no,
that's my why would you not?
that's true, and that's a really good point. I will actually start doing that. That's if you kind of think about it, if it's like you're investing in stocks in a way, it's a great uh, alternative to investing. If you want to
Hmm.
get into investing early, I'm 30, you're 42, still
Yep,
always young enough to invest because 20 years from now, you're looking back at that, you're like, oh wow, I'm actually sitting on a great sum of cash. And
for sure.
my why would you not for this week is opening up to your friends, opening up to your family or your people in your relationship, such as your girlfriend or your boyfriend, whether if you swing that way or not. It's definitely like when I talk about this, it's more of like we sometimes keep stuff bottled up, and to opening up to them is sometimes you have like so much stuff just built up inside of you that we are when I'm sorry, man. I'm just like struggling with this because last week my mom quit smoking cigarettes, and it was a huge thing. My dad passed away from smoking cigarettes.
Hmm.
It was the 17th year anniversary of him passing away, and it was a I was so happy, and like I never really opened up to my girlfriend about that and like shared that with her about it, and then and that was about my dad's like anniversary and stuff like that, and then when my mom quit smoking cigarettes pretty much the day after, and it's like been she's been on a patch for almost a week and a half now, and man, that literally like the weight of the world is off my shoulders. But it really like she saw a part of me that she hadn't really seen, and it was definitely something that I want to do more of. It's just opening up to your friends and your family, and it's sensitive subjects are hard to get out, and that is my why would you not? Why would you not want to open up to somebody that is really close to you, that is not going to judge you, especially like that's the one thing. It's like finding someone who you could just talk to and that you're not going to get judged for. It's like brother, sister, family, whoever it is, open up to somebody because you just never know what kind of great feeling you're going to get from doing it. Especially because it just opens up other doors and just things that you might not have figured out about yourself. Because I definitely
Yeah, and I
figured
think
out
it's
a lot.
interesting. It's interesting too because I think we all live in our own little bubble,
Yeah,
and we all have our own issues and things that we're dealing with. But the reality is, everybody does.
yeah, of course.
Um, and the commonality between all of us exists much more than the differences. Like we've all had a struggle that we've had to overcome.
Yeah,
So I think what you're talking about a lot is vulnerabilities, and that can be really difficult as a man to talk about feelings, to talk about struggles we're going through or things that we've been through. Um, but generally speaking, it's going to be well received. And if it's not, that's not the person you should be talking to about it.
right. Yeah, and some people are like, oh, they might not know who to talk to or like think they could open up, but it's like just test the waters. Like some people really do care about you more than you think. Like, and it's really good to just talk to people. Or another
Yep.
great alternative, if you don't have someone to talk to, therapy is phenomenal. I would always suggest therapy. I've used this website called BetterHelp before,
Hmm.
and man, it does wonders. Like talking to a therapist actually does a lot of, there's a lot of growth that comes out of it. And, man, I think that is one thing about life is that we just kind of forget we need to grow in certain
Yep.
ways every year, every day. Something small. And that's why we talk. That's why we talk about this stuff once a week. Why would you not want to grow? One at least one thing per week in something. Maybe it's going on walks more. All the stuff that we talked about before, cryo tank, eating meat, all this kind of stuff. It's like, but why would
You
you not
still
want to?
taking cold showers?
It's like take cold showers every day, buddy. It's been what
Yeah.
3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Been three
Yeah.
weeks. It's been
You don't
three
want to
weeks.
stop now, do you?
No, man, I love it. Like well, you see my hair is still wet. I took one right before
Yeah.
I got on here. I did a short workout, got out there, did it. My challenge for you is I want you to take a 20-minute walk. Get out of the house.
Okay.
Take your son. Do a 20-minute walk around the block.
You got it.
Get out there. That's
You got it. You got to give me. I'll do that this week, but you've got to give me one full day of carnivore.
I would try one full day.
One
of
day.
carnivore. I
One
would
day.
I would try that. I would try that and see how it goes. Okay. I would try that.
I actually got a message from a customer earlier today that he has been full carn now for about 2 weeks, and he said that he feels better than he has ever felt in his entire life. That at 11 o'clock he got off work last night and went home and did a workout because he had so much energy.
Wow. Okay, I will try. I will try that out. I will. One day I can do that, and then I'll go from there.
Yeah,
Go from there.
there you go.
All right, man. Let's. I think we'll wrap up the lifestyle advice. Let's get into this break. Let's see what we got here. So this
All right, I
is
mean,
what box do we have here?
this is 2021 Sage. It is the first 2021 product to come out that has autographs in it for the new class. So you've got, your Justin Fields, your Harris, your Ellinger, etc. So every pack has an autograph. Super good value. 16 autos for less than a couple $100. I like it. So I can barely see the screen, so you just tell me if you can, if I'm in the right spot.
No, you're good. Yeah, you're in the right spot. Yeah, just
All right, I'm just gonna open all the packs first, and then we'll go through them.
yeah, do it just like how you do a break. So people
Yeah.
that watch this later, this is similar to how he does his breaks, but instead he has the camera flipped around and you actually see the cards more and stuff.
Yeah, on a break, you would actually be above the product, so you'd be able to see it a little better. But given that we are tech wizards, this is the best we got right now.
Yes.
Just tech wizards.
And if any out there are tech guys that want to be an intern for the show, you guys could DM me on Facebook or write to me at brianargot@gmail.com.
We could definitely use a tech guy.
I think so. Someone that wants to be a part of a cool show. We'll definitely listen to your ideas and all that as well. Who are we hoping for here? I think I want a Justin Fields out of this. I'm a little bit higher on Justin Fields than I am Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Fields is going to be the best.
Why do you feel that Fields will be better than Lawrence? Is it just because of the hype train, or?
I just think it's the pressure to be great is going to be so high on Lawrence, and Fields isn't going to have to do as much, ironically, on the field.
Got it. Okay.
Just because I think coming out, it's going to be so much more pressure. All right, let's try this.
All right, you got to move over to your left a little bit.
My left or your or my right?
Right there.
That's
That's
the
perfect.
right.
That's perfect.
Right there's perfect. All
Yeah,
right, we'll go.
move back a little bit. Sorry.
This way?
Yeah, there you go. Right there.
We there?
Yes, we're
Bang.
there.
All right.
All right,
We've
so-
got Marlon Schachter auto. He is a cornerback. I
Okay.
don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is either.
A lot of these guys, you're not going to know who they are yet
Right.
until the draft. Oh, that's kind of cool. How about Cade Johnson, silver, numbered out of 10
Nice.
auto.
Nice.
Don't know who he is, but he numbered out of 10 auto is always good.
Can people still get these boxes from you?
Nope, we are sold out. There's a Justin Fields art gallery. I think these are 2 or 3 to a box.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, I like that
Yeah,
card.
so it's a cool little rookie. No, we sold out of these instantly because we were selling them 100 under market.
Nice.
Mr. Hayes auto. Again, not really sure who he is. He's a defensive end.
Yeah, can't say I know.
Warren Jackson. This is a silver rookie. Don't know who that is.
Don't either. No. I guess I need to beef up my NFL.
Mark Webb auto.
Don't know.
I mean, come draft day, it'll be cool to see which of these guys that you got actually get drafted.
Yeah. Maybe we could do a Facebook Live of that.
Next level, Ambry Thomas auto. I don't know who he is, but that one's a little different.
Yeah, that's a different one. Cade Johnson again.
And that is Mr. Yvonne Holland, safety.
Okay.
I mean, cool thing is you get 16 autos, and it's less than $10 an auto.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
nice. Warren Jackson auto, numbered out of 10.
Yeah, that's a cool looking card.
Yeah, almost like an XFL card or something. I don't know. It's pretty dope.
Next week, maybe.
And Mr. Moore, I don't know him either. Brevin Jordan, tight end auto.
Okay. Next week, maybe we'll talk some vintage football. Talk about some
That'd be
of that.
fun.
Yeah.
That is Mr. I don't know how to say his name.
Wong? Ooh? Yeah, I don't know.
Nwangwu. So we're going to call that Kenny. Kene. That's Mr. Kenny. There he is. Welcome back, Kenny.
I think that was.
Deo, defensive end autograph.
Okay.
No idea.
Yeah, there's
But,
a lot of guys I don't know in here. Except at the,
almost all of these guys are going to be guys you just have no clue. There's Mr. Mitchell, wide receiver.
Okay.
There's a Justin Fields rookie.
Take it. The
So that's kind of cool.
I'm hoping maybe I see a Chase Young in here too.
There is
Wyatt
Mr. Wyatt Davis. And Ernest Brown the fourth. Find the camera again. There we go.
Ernest Brown.
I don't know him. There's Mr. Jalen Waddle.
Waddle. Okay.
There's Kenny again. He's back. Mr. Molden is in the building. I'm not sure, but he's a cornerback, Mr. Molden.
Corner.
I mean, you only really need one of these guys to do something good for this to be a good value at this price.
Right, yeah.
There's Mr. Sage in the Sage product. His name is Sage. Maybe that makes him better. I'm not sure.
Like
Maybe that makes him good.
We're gonna throw one of these in everyone.
I mean, I would. There's old Mike Brown, offensive line.
Yeah.
Played at West Virginia. I know him.
Okay.
And that is a box of Sage. They're only exciting after the draft, really, because I mean you don't know who these guys are.
Right. Yeah. What is it for those who are watching? Or what are the resale on those usually right after the draft?
$250 a box. You know, we sold them for $150 a box.
Okay. How much would a box go for after the draft?
Probably about $250 to $300 still. College uniform stuff is just always going to be a little bit blunted by the fact that it's a college uniform card.
Right.
Like it just doesn't bring the same money as your NFL stuff, you know. It's fun because it's, you know, to me, I think this product's fun because you get 16 autographs and the draft's coming. So, like, you kind of get the excitement of, man, did I hit anything that is a guy that actually, you know, went in the top 50 or top 20? You know, like, that's super cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But in the same breath, you know, you're paying $10 an auto because they're kind of $10 autos.
Right, yeah.
If that makes sense.
I think that's what's interesting overall is the fact that with how high the market is for cards, I wonder if, like, you know, college stuff would get into, you know, but I mean everything is just jumping. Garbage pail. I have no idea about any of those. Wrestling cards are, you know, getting big. I look back at my old wrestling cards from, like, you know, I think 2001, whatever. You know, just interesting stuff. But it's just like everything is.
The entire market's high. Yeah, I mean everything's high. The new WWE stuff that's coming out is going to be expensive. Prism UFC's coming out. It's going to be huge. I think you're going to see the first silvers of the big stars are going to be worth so much money. Like, I think it's going to be ridiculous.
For, like, you know, Conor McGregor. Like that.
I think a Conor silver and gold's number out of 10, like that stuff's going to bring crazy money out of the gate. Like, it's going to be really, really good.
Especially for it being the first time. How much is the box going for?
Let me look, see what they're doing.
Okay.
Actually, I haven't looked since they announced it because I wasn't sure if it was going to pop until I started seeing some mock-ups and seeing some images of it, and yeah, it looks like it's going to be great.
Okay.
Let's see, Prism, UFC.
And anybody that's watching the show live, you guys have any comments, please feel free. Tag them. We got a bunch of Zach Blanchards. Sorry, Zach, we didn't get to a little bit more of your stuff, man.
It's $1,000 a box.
1,000 a box. Wow.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't have thought that 2 years ago. There's just no way, right?
No. If somebody would have told you or told me that UFC was going to be $1,000 a box, I would have laughed at them.
Yeah.
And now it actually kind of makes sense.
I think definitely the UFC is a little bit more marketable than boxing, just because of, you know, how it's regulated, and boxing is, you know, there could just be a lot of cheating. Yeah,
I think boxing is really weird, because, like, you have some stars, but in the UFC, I mean, there's a ton of stars in each weight class.
Yeah.
You know,
and I feel
I,
like it's just
go ahead.
it's just regulated different. It's like the thing that my thing. And I'm a big boxing guy. I love boxing, but just with how many divisions there are with belts and everything like that, and judges, they could be, cheating. I mean,
Hmm.
you see the way some judges call fights, and you're just like, how the hell did you come up with that score?
Yeah, it's almost like they're watching a different event.
Yeah, or they're being paid something.
Yeah,
And I mean, man, you
yeah,
just go back 30 years, I can tell you numerous fights. I'm just like, what the heck? So you have that. You also have, but in UFC, you don't see that. It's going to be different. There's not that many controversies.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man.
If anything, there's more early stoppings than anything.
Yeah,
People thinking that a fight could have gone on farther or
that,
further,
that's true. That's a good point.
but
But
that's
yeah.
about it.
Is there anything else you want to talk about, Matt, before we head out here?
Soccer's hot,
Yeah, yeah. Let's talk
super
about this.
hot. Soccer stuff's doing really good. Prism Soccer's really hot. People are clamoring for it. Obsidian Soccer's going to be coming out soon. That's going to be a high end product. Um, Myself, we're going to be doing lots of breaks today. Mixers, we've got Prism Basketball 2021 in the building. Some retail stuff we'll be mixing in. So it'll give you a shot at getting some Prism. We got Optic Football back in. So a lot of people are excited for the breaks that we're going to be putting up today.
Okay,
We've already filled two. We filled two by noon. So
nice.
hopefully we can try to go for 5 to 8 today.
Yeah, you got a busy afternoon today.
That's my hope. I'm going to try to do at least 5 today.
Any vintage stacks?
100%. Yeah, I've got one for sure. I'm going to probably do one a day for at least the next week or two.
Nice, nice. I can't wait to see that posted.
Yeah,
Send me a message when you do.
you got it. But anybody listening that doesn't know, just go to Facebook, look up the Card Shop Evansville. We run breaks every single day. No days off. I don't believe in them. My bills don't take a day off, so I don't take a day off.
That's good. That's good. That should be a quote in the back, a little placard.
It's a good idea. My bills don't take a day off.
That's actually really good. I'm gonna write that one down. All right.
There you go.
All right,
I'm out
brother.
here. Nuggets.
All right, brother. You have a good one, man. Nice talking to you as always.
Yep.